You can still see Timmy smiling in this photograph. 6 years old, standing in front of his little canvas tent, pine trees behind him, golden camp light on his face. It's the kind of picture a kid sends home to say, "I'm having the best time, Mom." But when his mother Stacy opened this image, she didn't smile back. She zoomed in past Timmy's grin, past the tent flap, into the shadows just behind her son, and her entire body went cold. She called the camp immediately. No answer. Called again. Nothing. A third time, a fourth, a fifth, dead air every single time. So Stacy called the police. What she had spotted in that photo would send 2 officers racing across back roads with sirens screaming. And what they found when they arrived, none of them would ever be the same. Now, to understand why Stacy reacted the way she did, you need to understand who this woman is. Stacy raised Timmy completely alone. His dad left the moment the pregnancy became real. No phone call, no support. No goodbye that meant anything. Stacy was 19 years old, terrified, and completely on her own. But she made a decision that day. She would raise this child, and she would raise him right. 7 years later, she had kept that promise. Life was never easy. Stacy worked while Timmy was at school and picked up extra hours after he fell asleep. Some months, the math just didn't work. Dinner got creative. Christmas got modest. But here's what mattered. Timmy never once felt unloved. That was the one line Stacy refused to let life cross. And Timmy, he was the kind of kid who made it easy to keep going. Quiet, grateful, almost never asked for anything, except one thing. For nearly 2 years, Timmy had been dreaming about his scouting group's big annual camping trip. 2 weeks in the woods, campfires, hiking, sleeping under the stars with his friends. For a boy who had never really been anywhere, this was everything. When Stacy saw the price tag, her heart sank. She told him she'd try, but she couldn't promise. Then she started saving, dollar by dollar, skipping things for herself she was already barely affording. And one evening, she sat Timmy down and told him, "You're going." He threw his arms around her neck so hard he almost knocked her over. He promised to send a photo every single day, and he kept that promise. Right up until day 6. From the moment that camp bus pulled away, Stacy felt something. Not worry exactly, more like a hum. A low, constant uneasiness she couldn't explain and couldn't turn off. She told herself it was normal. First time apart. Any mom would feel this way. Timmy's photos helped. Day 1, him and his buddies with oversized backpacks, grinning like they just conquered a mountain. Day 3, a blurry close-up of a beetle on a log that Timmy clearly thought was the most amazing creature on earth. He was fine. He was happy, but the hum never stopped. Then day 6 arrived. Another photo came through. Timmy in front of tent 14, smiling wide, arms at his sides like a proud little soldier. Stacy opened it, and the hum turned into a scream. Something behind Timmy, just past the open tent flap, half hidden in the shadows, a small dark shape, rounded ears, 2 eyes catching a sliver of daylight, a bear cub sitting inside her son's tent. Stacy stared at the screen, willing herself to be wrong. Maybe a stuffed animal, a backpack, a shadow. It wasn't. And here's what made Stacy's stomach drop. She knew something most people don't think about until it's too late. Where there's a bear cub, there's a mother bear searching for it. And a mother bear looking for her baby is one of the most dangerous forces in nature. She called the camp again. Ring after ring after ring, voicemail, emergency line, nothing. Nobody was picking up. And every second that passed, her son was sitting inches from a wild animal, while something much bigger and much angrier was out there looking for it. Stacy didn't own a car. She had no way to get to that campsite alone. But sitting still was not an option. She grabbed her phone and called the one person she knew would move fast, a police officer she'd recently befriended through a community program. She told him what she saw. She told him no one was answering. She told him her son was out there. He didn't hesitate, not even for a second. 10 minutes later, a patrol car was outside her door. 2 officers, engine running. Stacy climbed into the back seat, and before her seatbelt clicked, the sirens were already wailing. The campsite was 40 minutes away. They made it in 25. The moment they cleared the tree line, Stacy knew her gut had been right. The camp was in chaos. Kids running in every direction. Counselors shouting, waving their arms, trying to herd children toward the main lodge. Bags and gear scattered across the grass. Some kids were crying, some were just frozen, staring at nothing. One of the officers grabbed his radio. "Dispatch, we need Fish and Wildlife out here now." Stacy didn't wait. She was out of the car before it stopped, scanning every face in the crowd, small faces, terrified faces. None of them were Timmy's inside. The lodge children sat in clusters on the floor. A few counselors moved between them, trying to hold things together, but their hands were shaking too. Stacy walked through every group, every corner, no Timmy. She grabbed a counselor. "My son, tent 14 back row. Where is he?" The counselor's face went white. "We're still doing head count. I don't know if everyone's been brought in. Tent 14. The farthest point from this building." Stacy turned and walked straight for the door. "Ma'am, you can't go out there." She was already gone. The deeper she walked into the campground, the quieter it got. Not a peaceful kind of quiet, the kind that makes the hair on your neck stand up. She could hear her own breathing, pine needles crunching beneath her shoes. And underneath it all, low, deep, almost vibrating through the ground, a growl. She turned her head slowly. Less than 100 yards away, a large brown bear stood with its back to her. Head swaying low, nostrils pulling scent from the air. The mother, and she was heading toward the tents. Stacy didn't think. She moved low, fast, quiet, straight to tent 14. She ripped back the flap and stepped inside. What she saw nearly dropped her. Timmy was sitting cross-legged on his sleeping bag, gently petting the bear cub like it was a kitten. The cub was lazily batting at one of his socks, both of them completely calm, completely unaware that a 400-pound animal was closing the distance outside. Timmy looked up and grinned. "Mom, look what I found!" Stacy knelt down, took his face in her hands. She wanted to cry, scream, and hold him forever, all at once. "Baby, listen to me. Stay right here. Don't move. Don't come out. Okay?" His smile disappeared. He nodded. Stacy turned, reached down, carefully lifted the wriggling cub into her arms. Heavier than expected, warm, completely trusting, and she stepped back outside. The mother bear had turned dark eyes locked directly on her. Stacy walked, slowly, one step at a time. No running, no sudden moves, just a mother carrying another mother's child, trying to bring it home. She found an open patch of ground near the tree line, knelt down, set the cub gently on the earth, then backed away 1 step, 2, 3, keeping her eyes low, her body small. The cub let out a soft cry. The mother bear moved instantly. Fast, massive, but she didn't look at Stacy. She went straight to her baby, lowered her head, and nudged the cub with her nose. Then the two of them turned, together, and disappeared into the forest. Stacy stood frozen, watching the brush settle, listening to heavy paws fade into the earth. Then she ran. She ran back to tent 14, scooped Timmy up, and held him so tight he squeaked. She didn't care. She carried him all the way back to the lodge, past the officers, past the counselors who stared at her with their mouths open, past everything. Inside, she sat on the floor, Timmy in her lap, back against the wall, arms still locked around him, and only then, in that stillness, did the tears finally come. Wildlife rangers confirmed later that the bears had moved deep into the forest. No one at camp was hurt. Every child was accounted for. The session was shut down, and parents were called that same evening. On the ride home, Timmy fell asleep against Stacy's arm. One of the officers glanced in the rearview mirror and saw her staring out the window in silence, still holding her son's hand. Stacy would tell people later that she couldn't explain the feeling she'd had all week. The hum, the uneasiness, she just knew the way mothers sometimes do. Two mothers drove this entire story. One was a bear. One was a woman with no car, no money, and no way to reach her son, who got there anyway. Both of them got their child back that day, and both walked away carrying something they'd never put down, the memory of how close they came to losing everything that mattered. If this story hit you somewhere real, drop a like. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you in the next one.